This episode is brought to you by your company. That's right. As an early listener to the new and revamped AgTech Digest, we're offering early listeners and supporters of this podcast interested in sponsoring an incredibly generous discount of 75% off of our normal podcast sponsorship plans. It's our way of saying thank you for listening and supporting early on. So if you think your company would benefit and are open for a conversation, email me directly, harry@verticalfarmingpodcast.com. Thanks for listening and looking forward to your feedback.
Welcome to another episode of AgTech Digest, your go-to source for the latest in agricultural technology. In today's episode, we're diving into the latest developments shaping the future of agriculture. We'll explore European AgTech market realignment and regulatory complexity, examine corporate restructuring and capital mobilization initiatives, and look at autonomous platform acquisitions and precision robotics funding. We'll also cover AI-driven discovery platform integration, biological nitrogen-fixing product launches, insect farming for sustainable aviation fuel production, and fresh commerce expansion in emerging markets. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Starting out with this week's analysis, we examine how Europe's AgTech sector is entering a more disciplined phase shaped by regulatory complexity, capital selectivity, and operational realism. Since January 2025, more than 765 million euros has been deployed across precision application, automation, biological platforms, and compliance-driven digital systems. But funding is increasingly concentrated in companies demonstrating measurable ROI, integration capability, and clear commercialization pathways. Controlled environment agriculture is moving through a rationalization cycle with fewer expansion-led announcements and more focus on integrations, refinancing, and targeted tooling. Biologicals and precision breeding continue to advance, yet progress is tied to manufacturing scale-up, regulatory sequencing, and partnerships with incumbents rather than speculative growth. Across categories, partnerships are not secondary. They are emerging as the core commercialization model in a fragmented market where interoperability, distribution access, and regulatory navigation determine adoption speed. Taken together, the data suggests that Europe's AgTech momentum remains intact, but the expansion narrative has given way to strategic realignment. Technologies that reduce input risk, embed cleanly into existing farm systems, and align with evolving compliance frameworks are increasingly defining the next stage of growth. Additionally, this week's interview features Dr. Haytham Riahi, CEO and co-founder of Circa Biotech, who discusses how the company is converting food waste into animal feed, organic fertilizer, and sustainable aviation fuel feedstock using black soldier fly insects. 1/3 of the food produced globally for human consumption is lost or wasted, he noted, positioning food waste as both an environmental and economic challenge. Circa operates a B2B waste diversion model, sourcing organic waste from retailers and processors, and monetizing multiple output streams to ensure commercial viability. Beyond protein and fertilizer, the company has developed a proprietary process to convert insect fat into sustainable aviation fuel feedstock. Scaling, however, has required as much regulatory and commercialization effort as technological development. Even if you produce, it doesn't mean people will buy, Dr. Riahi said, emphasizing the importance of market alignment. By 2035, he envisions Circa Biotech operating replicated hubs globally, linking waste management, agriculture, and energy within an integrated bioeconomy platform. Furthermore, dsm-firmenich agreed to sell its animal nutrition and health division to CVC as part of its strategic shift toward a purely consumer-focused portfolio. The company will retain a minority stake in the newly formed entities, with the transaction expected to close pending regulatory approvals. Transitioning to capital mobilization, Farm Credit Canada and more than 20 investment groups committed significant capital toward agricultural and food innovation through 2030. The initiative aims to accelerate commercialization and strengthen Canada's long-term competitiveness in AgTech and agribusiness. In crop protection, Bayer received federal registration for its dicamba herbicide Striax across 34 U.S. states. The restricted use product supports dicamba-tolerant soybeans and cotton with defined application windows and pending state-level approvals. Regarding autonomous systems, FarmX acquired electric autonomous tractor developer Amos Power, to strengthen its vertically integrated AI-driven farming system. The integration supports scalable autonomy deployments beginning in 2026. Moving to precision agriculture, Upside Robotics secured $7.5 million in seed funding to scale autonomous robots designed to reduce nitrogen waste in row crops. The company plans deployments across 3,000-plus acres in 2026. In AI integration, Evogene expanded its collaboration with Google Cloud to integrate AI agents into its ChemPass AI platform. The initiative aims to automate and accelerate small molecule discovery in agriculture and pharma. Additionally, Kula Bio introduced 2 soluble powder nitrogen fixing products compatible with organic and conventional systems. The shelf-stable formulations expand usability beyond liquid biologicals. Continuing with robotics, Bonsai Robotics unveiled new autonomous solutions for precision weeding and spraying in specialty crops. The systems aim to reduce herbicide and water use while improving operational efficiency. In funding news, BEM Agro secured approximately $5.83 million to advance its AI and computer vision technologies. The funding supports further development of productivity and sustainability-focused tools. Finally, QuickArt secured $1.5 million in seed funding to scale its farm-to-home platform in the UAE. The capital will support supply chain optimization and expansion into Abu Dhabi. Looking ahead to upcoming industry events, mark your calendars for Animal AgTech Innovation Summit from April 8th to 9th, 2026 in Fort Worth. Following that, Regenerative Agriculture will take place from April 13th to 16th, 2026 in Los Angeles. Then, we have Fiber Connect 2026 and Precision Agriculture from May 17th to 20th, 2026 in Orlando. That wraps up today's episode of AgTech Digest. We explored the latest developments in agricultural technology. From Europe's strategic realignment toward capital discipline and regulatory navigation to corporate restructuring and capital mobilization initiatives, it's clear that the AgTech sector is making strides in sustainability and innovation. With significant funding rounds including Upside Robotics' $7.5 million raise, BEM Agro's $5.83 million Series A, and QuickArt's $1.5 million seed funding, and impactful partnerships and acquisitions including dsm-firmenich and CVC, FarmX and Amos Power, and Evogene and Google Cloud, the future of agriculture is shaping up to be smarter and more sustainable than ever before. Thanks for joining me. I'm Anna, signing off. Stay inspired and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
This episode is brought to you by your company. That's right. As an early listener to the new and revamped AgTech Digest, we're offering early listeners and supporters of this podcast interested in sponsoring an incredibly generous discount of 75% off of our normal podcast sponsorship plans. It's our way of saying thank you for listening and supporting early on. So if you think your company would benefit and are open for a conversation, email me directly, harry@verticalfarmingpodcast.com. Thanks for listening and looking forward to your feedback.